Thank you for joining us for this webinar, which is being hosted by Ms. Asta Ahuja. She's founder of Empower You, which is a counseling and art therapy clinic, right? This is a mind manthan as Empower You is turning 2 today. So she has organized webinar series of webinar for today's day. And I'm sure a few of you have already been there for the first webinar, which was conducted by herself, right? So before I proceed, I would like to ask, I hope I'm audible to everyone. If yes, just give me a thumbs up. My voice is clear? Oh, great. That's great. So we are here today, to understand something which is really very important. And these days, because of the lockdown, it has been rising up high. That is emotional eating, and some point of the time, each one of us actually landed up into this situation. And we are so fortunate enough to have our expert, dietitian Monica Sethia, to be with us, to guide us, to let us know about this particular topic, emotional eating, right? Talking about dietitian Monica Sethia, she has done her post-graduation in food and nutrition from Delhi University, and she has an immense experience, knowledge in this particular area. She's been working with Sri Gangaram Hospital, and then she started with her own venture, that is the Nutrition. And now she is also a certified metabolic coach. She believes into actually building that healthy relationship of an individual with the healthy food, the way you look towards it. So thank you so much, Ms. Monica Sethia. Thank you for being with us. And I have lots of questions and queries for you, lots of doubts, that we really need lots of clarification. I'm sure the participants will resonate and relate with what I'm saying. And I think we are going to come up with a lot of queries towards you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Asta, for having me, and thank you, Shraddha, for the fine introduction. So we'll start, right? So we'll start with what basically is emotional eating. All right. So everybody of us has emotions, negative, positive, both, right? So once we are into this negative emotions, we do not feel good about it at all. We feel that this should be taken away, and we find some coping strategies to deal with it. And once the coping strategy is association with the food, that is where the problem arises. Associations have been made since childhood. When we were children and we used to do something better in school, or we used to do something good, our parents used to reward us with maybe ice creams, or maybe a packet of chips, or maybe something like a besan ka laddu, like celebrations. It's always been the associations with food has been there since childhood. That is why the only way we know is to we know to cope up with stresses with food. Why do we always go back to food as the best coping mechanism? Because we find the comfort there. We remember our childhood there. So that is why we just find out the best giving satisfaction is food. But the problem arises is when the only way to deal with stress is food. And also the only way associated with this, the guilt and shame which is associated, then it is termed as emotional eating. All of us might have, once we are suffering from PMS, or once we are having problems like aaj bahut mood acha nahi hai, I need to grab a packet of chips, or I need to have a little chocolate. That cannot be termed as emotional eating. It is termed as emotional eating once the behavior becomes repetitive. You're repeating the behaviors again and again, and also you're thinking about food all the time. Like most of your time is going thinking about what to eat, when to eat. So that is where this term called emotional eating comes in. Also, when we're stressed out, we've seen that negative emotions are linked more with the emotional eating. Why? Because when we're stressed out, when we're too stressed out, we have that hormone inside our body called cortisol. So the cortisol makes us crave for foods like high fat, high sugar foods. Why does this happen? And when we crave for these foods and we have those foods, again, the stress of gaining weight comes in, and then the guilt and the shame associated comes in. So this cycle goes on. We have the stress, we take in the food, and we feel the guilt, and then we feel the guilt, and then we get stressed. So this comes into a vicious cycle. So that is where we need to break it. If we find out another ways of coping with the stress, for example, if we ask ourselves that we can anticipate the situations coming. So if you can, I think someone's saying if she can't hear my voice. Am I not audible?
No worries. I think there are other members of Empower You. They will help you. The other members are here.
Okay.
So participants, I would like you to just click on to any of the members written as Empower You, and you can get in touch with them and they will help you.
Yeah.
So
basically, right. So we were talking about the vicious cycle. So how to break that vicious cycle of, if we find out other ways of dealing with that stress, we can at the first place, stop associating food and emotions together. आज बहुत low feeling है, I'll have a cupcake. It's okay to have a cupcake and do not feel that guilt. When you associate guilt, then you are all the more increasing the problem of emotional eating. So it's okay that if I hope I'm made myself clear what is emotional eating.
Definitely, and it was so elaborate and so nice. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure the concept, at least, of emotion eating is clarified right now for all of us. And the very question I always had with me, you've already answered, and thank you so much for that. That is like, why food? Why it cannot be something else with which we can feed our feelings, And you already said that it is a childhood association, and I can relate so much to that. So I would like to know, like, is there any way we can identify it? Are there any triggers to it?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so talking about the triggers, there are the triggers can be individualistic. There can be a lot of triggers that can lead to this emotional eating. But two main triggers that the studies have found out is one is stress, that we all know. So one is stress that helps us to associate food and emotions together, and the second one is deprivation or restrictions. When we keep ourselves too restricted as women, we already know that image of the body image of getting thin, maintaining our slim versions of our own selves, it is there. So we really restrict ourselves too much. In the market there are too many rules about eating. ये इसको करने से ये पतले होते हैं, तो I'll also incorporate that kind of restriction in my life. For example, पिज्जा खाने से हमारा weight put on होता है. तो जब हम पिज्जा का एक बाइट भी खाते हैं, we feel that guilt coming in. So too many restrictions will lead to our body gets that ki when there is a restriction, our body gets more inquisitive. And when there is a too much of restrictions, हमने अपने आप पे post करके रखी है, we can't eat normally. Food is food. It's okay to have food. If you're eating a pizza with loads of vegetable, it is not going to harm your health. So we need to, the restrictions needs to be eased out. अगर बहुत सारी restrictions बहुत सारे times पे रखेंगे, or there have been studies to show that women who were offered food, who were on too many restrictions, took the food more. I mean, the quantity was more. They served themselves with more quantities rather than who were not on restrictions. They were unable to eat mindfully. So you get that if the triggers, right?
Right. That actually says so much about it. But if I really have to identify it for myself, like if I really want to understand whether whatever I'm doing right now, whether this is, I'm eating probably, and I'm eating and after every some time. So whether it is really a physical hunger or emotional hunger, how can I really differentiate between that?
All right. So basically, there are cues to find out if you're emotionally eating or is that real hunger. So you can find out by, if you're feeling suddenly that hunger, if you're bored and you're in front of the fridge always, so that is a cue that you are emotionally eating. And if the hunger comes slowly, that means that is physical hunger. Second, okay, so if you have a high urge to eat a lot of sugary foods or a lot of salty foods or a packet of chips, that is probably the emotional thing. And if you're okay with eating even the normal dal, roti, sabzi, which is kept in front of you, you have the same amount of feelings for that dal, roti, sabzi also. That is physical hunger. And if you really don't like that, whatever is kept in front of you, and you just crave for that packet of chips or that muffin or that chocolate kept in side of your almirah, that's the cue that you are seeking some emotional, that it's your emotional hunger that's come into your being. And
Eating.
also, if you have the guilt and shame associated after eating, that is the biggest cue that you had your meal with, in the emotional eating, and not with the physical hunger. Because once you're hungry, hunger is normal. You will treat your hunger normally, and if you're hungry, you will eat food. You will not have the guilt associated with your hunger.
Absolutely. It says so much about having those cupcakes when especially you're so low or you feel
Exactly.
really annoyed someday. So thank you
Absolutely.
so much for helping with that.
Yeah.
Before I proceed with the next, I have got loads of questions actually for you. But before I
Yeah.
proceed with the next question, I would also request participants, if
Yeah.
they have any questions,
Yeah.
they can just type in the box, chat box. Yeah, your
Yeah.
questions will be taken, right? So you can type, if any questions you have, you can type it in the chat box. So you were talking about guilt, right?
Yeah.
Guilt and shame, because
Yeah.
I feel that generally we'll end up eating, binge eating, and then we start gaining weight, and we'll end up with this guilt and shame. So is there any way we can really cope up with this or handle this?
Absolutely. This is a very important part. Once we've had the food, and then that anxiety, that guilt sets in, So how to cope up at that very moment? It is very important to calm down first. Calm down. Your mind is listening to whatever you're speaking. If you ask your mind, I've had a bag of chips, but it's okay. But from tomorrow onwards, I'll make sure I'll exercise or walk an extra mile, or I'll probably say that to my mind that, it's okay that I've had it. From tomorrow onwards, I'll follow a more better routine. So it is very important to calm down your mind. Once your mind is calm, then probably you can think better. Another way to cope up with that anxiety or that feeling of anxiety will be to have a glass of water. It is very important because it releases a set of endorphins. So that just calms you down.
So, I would request the participants to mute your mic. So it will be easy for others as well. There will be no distractions or any background noise which will be distracting the participants.
Yeah, can we start?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Okay.
We're so
So
sorry for
it was about the anxiety, right? So anxiety can be taken care if you just have a glass of water or green tea, right? So the green tea is also shown to release some chemicals that soothe you down. And once your anxiety has taken care of, then you can start speaking up for the future. Distract yourself for the future. Today, okay, I've taken this, but tomorrow I'm going to start off with a better routine. Tomorrow, adjust your meals. Also very important that where find out where that guilt is coming from. We have a lot of nutritional information freely available in the market, and we pick up the rules of eating from there. If your friend has lost weight with keto diets, or if your friend has lost weight with no carbohydrate diets, you may probably set in that rule in your life without knowing the consequences of it, right? And then once you eat it, you'll feel the guilt. So it is very important to find out where that guilt is coming from. You should have a good rules. It is important to eat with discipline. It is very important. But accepting all the information available on the internet, or accepting all the information available without trying it and then feeling the guilt is also not good. You should always give yourself some freedom, and you should be really, um, you should be tolerant about your own self. Don't judge yourself too much. It's okay if you've had a piece of cupcake, because I have seen patient, I have clients, dealing who used to say, there was a one client, I was amazed to see that how she started saying that I always have a packet of 5 rupees kurkure packets available, and she used to have that as her guilt, as an emotional eating, and she used to have it during the night time when everybody slept. So this ways, and she used to have 5 packets. After coming to me, she reduced to 1, but that was a progress for her. Once the emotions set in during the night and you have nobody to look forward to, you have nothing to do, you just start binging, and that guilt comes in. That is where it is very important to first calm down yourself. Mindfully, it is very important to calm down yourself, that it is okay that you had it, but next day I am going to. It is very important to again reaffirm it to yourself that yes, I am going to, not eat tomorrow. But for the first place, the rules should be very clear, that your rules should be according to you and not according to your friend, or not according to someone just said that vegan is very good, or maybe even gluten free is very good, or maybe even keto diets are very good. You should be, you should set your rules accordingly. If your friend says that biscuits are bad, yes, biscuits are bad, but then gluten free biscuits, you can make good versions of biscuits for your own self. They are not bad. So it is very important to, relax the rules you have in your life. So that will just take care of the guilt which comes along with it. You'll be able to cope with the guilt better.
Right. And also you so very well said about the night eating, because that is commonly seen. Why night? Why people just sneak out and get into their fridge at the night time? That explains so much.
Yes.
And really loved what you said was like, stop judging yourself. That is because really I feel that everyone lands up judging themselves when they land up with so much of eating. Ms. Manika, we have one question from our participant. I'll just read it to you. That is, does emotional eating results in more weight gain than normal overeating at times? Okay. I'll read it again.
Yes.
Yeah, it is, does emotional eating results in more weight gain than normal overeating at times?
Okay. Normal overeating cannot be termed as emotional eating. I started with that, right? Because with normal overeating, we are, our emotions are under our control. But with emotional eating, our emotions are not under our control. We just binge on it and then feel the guilt. That is where this emotional eating leads to. And of course, emotional eating leads to more weight gain, because you just eat more amount of food in very less time, and then you don't even have the cue that you're full. Very importantly, that with emotional eating, your emotion, you're just trying to put a kind of feeling at the back, and you are just avoiding a feeling with eating food. So you don't realize it, and of course you put in more weight with emotional eating than overeating at times.
Right, right. So I hope the question, it was by Mariam, has been answered. Okay. So I mean, I'm still trying to grasp the concept of mindful eating. Does that mean that I really need to know all the nutritional values of the food I'm indulging or having it?
No. Again, the obsession behavior with counting calories. There's something called intuitive eating. Yes, if you've heard about it. Intuitive eating and mindful eating are two things, which should be taken care of. With my patients also, I never ask them to count their calories. Never. I have never given the portions, in fact. I ask them, if you've read the book Ikigai, it's a Japanese bestseller. It says that you should be having 70% of the food. You should not be 100% full when you sit down to eat. You should always ask yourself, I will be completing 70%. I never give them one roti or two rotis to eat at a meal. I always ask them, please listen to the cues your body is saying. If your attention is without distraction, like if you're not watching TV while having food, if you're not watching mobile while having food, your body will respond how much you should eat. That is called intuitive eating. Right. That's mindfulness. Mindfulness is giving attention to the food you're eating, the aroma of it, the taste of it. Because mostly we've seen, because like the stressed life we lead, we do not even know what we're eating sometimes. We just have it. We just don't even know the taste of it. We just finish it because it's lunchtime. We need to finish that food. And that is where that stress comes in and overeating comes in. We need to stop that overeating. And the moment you start paying attention fully to your meal, you will not have more food. You will not be able to have more food than what is required.
Right, right, absolutely. And I would like to ask you, like, okay, we really need to switch off the TVs and get away with our mobiles. I like to understand, especially for working women or
Yeah.
working individuals, I would rather say, how would they manage their food pattern? You know, because the timings are odd at times. You know, they might not get time. They are overloaded with the work. So
Right.
what would you suggest to them, like how would they manage with their nutritional values and the food pattern?
That's a very good question. I think the first is very important is prioritizing your own self. We as women do not prioritize ourselves. We have cooking for someone, then cooking for children, then feeding the children first, then doing the work first, and then comes our time to eat. So that is where the problem starts as women, that we do not prioritize ourselves. And second is, as working women, we sometimes can be stuck up somewhere and we do not get the time. So the best way is to always carry a pack of healthy snacks. Before the stress comes in that I haven't had my food at 2 o'clock, I should have handy pack of snacks like a handful of makhanas, or maybe handful of roasted chanas along with it, or maybe almonds packed. So when you have that, you will have that satiety with you, and you'll have that stress reliever. Because once you, and also very important, water. We always underestimate the power of water. So if you are hydrated enough, there are chances that the stress levels will not even strike in, right? It's very underestimated, the power of water. Also the snackings. So if you're having those snacks along with your things, so if even if you've missed out on your 2 o'clock, exact 2 o'clock, you can have your proper meal at 3 o'clock, and that should be okay,
Okay,
according to me.
so that should be fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have one more question, but that seems
Yeah.
to be very on a personal
Yeah.
note. I'll still read it to you if you want to take it right now, or maybe you want to guide the person later. I'll just
Mm.
read it to you. That it comes from Anita. That
Yeah.
I know that I'm indulging emotional eating. There are times when I take the support of my favorite food to deal with stress. Is that okay?
Can you repeat the question?
He says that I know that I'm indulging in emotional eating. There are times
Mm.
when I take support of my favorite food to deal with stress. Is that okay? So I think you have already answered it, but still, if
Yeah,
you
that's
can just
basically our
address it to her.
comfort foods. These are known as comfort foods. What are comfort foods? Comfort foods are where we have our emotions attached, and we basically overindulge in them. Like, for example, it can be rajma chawal for some people. It can be unhealthier options of some food for some people, and that's absolutely okay. But then at times, doing it at times, I have already told that it is okay if you're indulging in that sometimes. But if the behavior is getting repeated, um, and you think it is going to be, because everybody of us knows that if this, I'm repeating this behavior weekly, or I'm repeating this behavior every month, and the episodes are increasing, then it is the time to take care, and then it is the time you just need help. And that we'll be talking about for the how to cope up with the emotional eating. We'll be talking later.
Yeah, I'm sure that definitely answers her question. We have one more interesting question.
Yeah.
The question says that is ice chilled water better than the room temperature water in order to reduce your emotional stress? So is there any
Okay.
relation of
So basically, it's diet-induced thermogenesis. The iced water induces diet-induced thermogenesis. So it is shown that it just burns more calorie, but there is, like, it has a calming effect. It's just the water leads to calming effect. So that, even if it's ice chilled and it gives you pain in your throat, so I would not recommend an ice chilled water during this time. But because it gives you a high diet induced thermogenesis, that is how there may be studies showing that yes, it can lead to controlling your emotional things. But I don't think there are more studies supporting this fact.
okay. So
Yeah.
there's one more
Yeah.
which says that it usually happens with me, I suddenly feel hungry, but just after 2 to 3 morsels, I don't feel like eating anymore.
Can you repeat again?
Okay, so the question comes from Rumana. She says that she usually feels hungry, and suddenly she has that hunger pangs, and she eats 2 to 3 morsels, and she does not feel like eating anymore.
Okay, so basically, this can be a strike. If you're eating, you need to have a general routine. Because you do not have a good routine, you may be having that emotional and the stress eating, and then you eat and then you leave it. So this can be because this requires a general, specific eating patterns. This kind of person may require specific eating patterns, like morning you need to have, some people always complain that मुझे भूख ही नहीं लगती है, मैं सीधा दोपहर का खाना खाती हूँ, मुझे भूख ही नहीं लगती. This is most of the question which my clients ask, because आप people have tea, and tea से हमारी भूख मर जाती है, right? We've always seen that कि हमें भूख ही नहीं लग रही. क्यों नहीं भूख लग रही? भूख लगना is a good mechanism. So there is something with your body, inside your body, that is not working well. You need to feel hungry. It is important to feel hungry. And if that is happening with you, start with a good routine. Start with a fat. Like I always ask people to start with almonds and walnuts. They just kickstart your metabolism in a good way. So if you start with that and then have a fruit, it just kicks in your metabolism. And then you have an appetizer, for example, of fruit like an apple can increase the hunger if you think you're not feeling hungry at that moment. So try having an apple an hour before your meal. You'll feel more hungry.
Okay, that I'm sure that answers the question. Definitely answer the question.
Yeah.
There is a question here, and it very much depends on the two school of thoughts which are floating these days in the society. That is one, either you have small portions of meal, and that will help you lose weight, or it is intermittent fasting. Yeah, you have two heavy meals, and that will. So that is one question we have got here. So what exactly is
I support both of them. I support both of them. I have worked, to each to his own. Basically, it depends on the individual. It is very important that some people feel very comfortable having 2 meals and intermittent fasting, like a 16 hours fast and 8 hours eating window. Both works very well, and also the small meal pattern. It depends on individual to individual. I, in fact, follow intermittent fasting and it works very well for me. So there's no like, this is good and this is bad. If it works for you, I've always said, always try it out on your own self. If you feel comfortable in that pattern, follow it. If you do not feel comfortable, you just can skip it. I feel intermittent fasting works very well for me. So I follow that intermittent fasting. So it's good.
Okay, so we had one more question and you have already answered it. That was that what is your say on intermittent fasting? And
I absolutely
you've already answered it.
Yes.
Yeah. Ms. Manika, I would really like to understand, okay, how to take the cues and understanding the triggers.
Yeah.
But really would love to know, when do we need to understand that now it is a time I need to take help from an expert? Probably I really need to see a dietitian, I need to see a psychologist, or maybe I really have to walk to a doctor, medical help. So how would I differentiate between?
When the behaviors become obsessions, there are people who will just think about food all the time. Yeah. They'll just imagine their favorite food all the time. When most of your time goes thinking about the food, or how will I eat that food, or how will I get that food, that is where your obsession comes in. Also, second important is, it can be anything, something like, when you're too obsessed with your weight. We've seen everybody getting on the weighing scale every single day. That is also obsession. Even eating, and people who get on the weighing scale every single day, they will not eat a piece of chocolate even if they're offered that, because they feel अगले दिन वो scale बढ़ जाएगा. तो वो जो scale बढ़ जाएगा वाला is also an obsession that can lead to. It's not an emotional disorder, but it can lead to that kind of obsessions. And obsessions are bad. That is the time you will feel that अब मुझे steps ले लेने चाहिए. Before going to seeking a medical professional help, we have other ways to deal with this kind. For example, maintaining a food and a mood journal. For जैसे कि कुछ स्पेसिफिक मूड्स पे आप कुछ स्पेसिफिक फूड्स खाते हो. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ यू आर फीलिंग द PMS or if you're feeling very low, you know always reach out for a chocolate. That's there. हम ऐसा करते हैं कि हम हमेशा मीठा उठाते हैं जब हम ज्यादातर लो फील कर रहे हैं. तो यू नीड टू रजिस्टर दोज थिंग्स बिफोर सीकिंग दैट हेल्प. अगर आपको लगता है कि दिस बिहेवियर इज रियली टर्निंग रेपिटेटिव, just maintain a journal with yourself. Like write in the mood you feel. For example, whenever I feel low, I eat a chocolate. So that means you have associated low mood with chocolate. You would know when you've registered things down for your own self, you will know how to help your own self. And even when that doesn't work, then is the time you can ask for help or ask for professional help from a nutritionist or a psychotherapist.
Yeah, that says so much and it's very insightful. I think we all need to really, the word mindful which has been used, we really need to be mindful about everything what is happening
Exactly.
with us. So that will definitely help us to understand when we need to step ahead and take help or seek help whenever it is required. I'm going to ask, there's a few more questions coming up.
Yeah.
I'll just, there is one question which is saying that, is there any relationship between protein and your mental health? Does that lift your mental health? Is there any connection between the protein and
Okay, yes. Basically, protein contains amino acids called tryptophan. So tryptophan gives you a good serotonin, the hormone called serotonin. So it just relieves you of your stress. And also proteins take a longer time to digest. So eating a carbohydrate rich foods, they get digested very easily. They give you a sugar spike. They make you feel very good, but then again they make you feel very depressed after a certain time. But eating a protein helps you feel good for a long period of time. You're satisfied for a long period of time. And also it contains tryptophan that I've told you. It helps in the release of dopamine and serotonin, which are again the feel good hormones. So yes, protein gives us a happy feeling, and also it keeps the feeling for a long time. It gets somewhere around 3 to 4 hours, and you're satisfied once you take protein. That is why I asked you to take a packet of roasted snacks like chana or roasted almonds along with you always. That can calm you down and also will help you stay full.
Right, absolutely. Thank you so much. I was just checking if there were many, but most of the questions you have already answered. There are many which you have already answered, but I would really like you to give your take-home message of the day to everyone who are participating and are here with us today. So what would be the takeaway from this webinar for all of them?
Yes, I will really love to answer this question because it is very important that it is to be stop being judgmental about our own selves. Being easy on ourselves is very easy because the social media has really hyped the thin as healthy. So it is really not that, because we judge ourselves too much. We get into that cycle of stress eating too much because we want to look like a particular person or we want to achieve that particular weight. So stop being judgmental, stop being eat easy. Take food as happiness. Food is there for fueling your body. It is required. Sometimes we see people not even having complete nutritional requirements because they feel they'll just put on weight. So they just avoid the feeling of even eating, and that triggers the stress again in their body. So please be start practicing mindful eating, that is intuitive eating. Listen to your body. Your body speaks a lot to yourself. Calm down, relax, and listen. Always eat what suits you the best, not what your friend is eating, not what the other person is eating, not because she has lost more weight with keto diets. So that doesn't necessarily mean you will be able to do that with the keto diet. You can do well with the small eating patterns very well if you listen to your body cues. That is very, very important.
Yeah, thank you. That says so much of the customized fit for an individual.
Absolutely.
So it is not that just because moving with the flock. So the herd is moving in one direction, so I also start moving along. So it does not really say that. And whenever it is necessary for us, we really need to seek help of an expert to actually understand what is my tailor-made fit. for my
Absolutely.
diet or my nutrition value. We have been getting one question 2-3 times. This is an individual question, so Paridhi is asking like, what can be an ideal diet for a PCOD patient to lose
Okay.
weight? Would you like to answer it right here now, or I would ask her to connect with you
Yeah,
otherwise?
she can connect with me, but I can give certain tips for PCODs. Again, I will ask them to start with the fat first. So if you can start with a extra virgin coconut oil first thing in the morning, that really takes care of your hormones and balances out and resets your body's mechanism. So if you can start with that, PCOD people really get help. And also, second is consistency, because sometimes the people with PCOD do not lose weight very quick, and they lose hope in between. And then again, I like to answer that people suffering with PCODs are more prone to getting into emotional eating, because they feel they put in all their efforts. Their friend who doesn't have a PCOD will achieve the results very fast, and the person with PCOD will take a little time. So they fall prey for this emotional cycle very soon. So it is very important to put in your efforts consistently for a longer time than the normal person is. You just have to focus on your consistency rather than the weighing scale. It is very important.
I hope that answers the question, Paridhi. And thank you so much, Ms. Monica
Yeah.
Setia. Thank you so much for taking out time, finding out time for and being here with us.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
it was so insightful. There's so many questions. There's still so many, but still so many are already answered. I might have not been able to take all the questions from the participants, but you can always connect with her on Facebook
Yes.
and her Instagram page and get in touch with her, and you can always send across the questions to her. Yeah. And really, I mean, so many things, cortisol and serotonin, and basically most important is stop judging myself, being mindful about what I'm going to put that next morsel in my mouth.
Right,
And
right.
you know, it is very true what you said, is like food is fuel to the body, so it's, we just cannot keep on, you know, pushing in. It's like a fuel, and we should consider eating in that manner. So
Exactly.
thank you so much for such an insightful
Yeah.
session.
Thank you
And
for having me. Thank you for, I hope I was helpful. And if any other questions, I would
definitely,
take them personally. Yeah.
you were, it was very informative. And to the participants, we are fortunate enough, we have one more guest with us, Miss Diksha Upadhyay. She's a psychologist and co-founder of Earthly. She's here with us today, and to talk about Earthly. Earthly is one of our collaborators of the event, and they decided to give every past participant over here something amazing. So this Earthly, to be more precise, is a food brand which has a product leading to holistic development. I would in fact request Ms. Diksha to tell us more about this concept of Earthly.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shraddha, and a very good afternoon to all the participants. The session was very, very insightful, and I'm glad that we could be a part of this thanks to the entire Empower team. So, early, I talk a bit about you ending with the coupon details, which you can, avail the discount and everything on our website. So, the website is www.getearly.in. That is the website. But before you purchase, you should know a bit about the brand. So the brand is, we are not just focused on what is good for physical health, and we have always focused to pull out products directly from the earth, the nature earth, because the Vedic sciences say that the entire body is made up of 5 elements, and if we eat food which is related to that particular element, the energy body is, the stimulation is increased and the energy body runs with a good flow. Once there's a good flow in energy body, the next mental and physical body comes into play. So the base of our holistic health, as per the Vedic science and the new researches which are developing, are that your energy body should be in a good flow, and it can be done indirectly by managing the physical diet as well as the mental thing, which has been brilliantly covered in the entire session. So the earth chakra, which is also known as the Mooladhara chakra, the base chakra, it has element of earth, and we have a range of whole foods with very, very minimum processing, no preservatives, no artificial sugar, nothing is added. Like even if our peanut butter are completely natural, it at times needs oil because natural peanut butter tend to need oil. We do not mix any kind of emulsifiers or hydrogenated oils or sugars or anything to enhance or kind of create an illusion of a healthy product, but giving in return very unhealthy results. So you can check out the details on the website. And the coupon code which we have made for Empower is special 10 and special 20. So till 1,000 rupees of order, you'll get 10% discount. The coupon code is SPECIAL 10. And for above 1,000 rupees order, it is 20% discount. I think Empower will float the coupon code and everything, but you can also go and check out the details. It was amazing to be a part of this. Thank you so much, Astha. Thank you so much, Dr. Shraddha and Dr. Manika for taking this session.
I would like to add on, again, if you can consume your fruits with the almond butters available, that can again be a good snacking pattern. Right, because the unsweetened, I think I've tried the things that unsweetened almond butters can also be helpful.
Thank you so much. And that was really wonderful session. And there was so much, so less time, and there's so much more to know about it. I mean, and I'm sure the participants will, like, as I have said, that I could not take up all the questions. They'll definitely connect to you on your pages. And thank you so much, Ms. Diksha. And this concept of 5 elements and then relating it to the food itself sounds so wonderful. I mean, it is so interesting, something different, and I'm sure even the participants have already taken up the website, and they will definitely go up there and look out for there. And there will be people who will be guiding them on the websites, right? So thank you again, and thank you to the participants for being a part of this webinar. And it was really fruitful and productive, I would say. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you everybody for joining in, and your questions have made us think that we should call Manika again, and we should have a longer session with her.
Yeah.
And yes, thank you for joining, and thank you for being a part of Empower You's birthday. And thank you all. We'll be connected. Your mails will reach you today evening about the discount and everything. And the mails will also have profiles of every professional that you see today or attend those sessions for. So thank you so much.
All right.
Okay, so the team can stay back for 1 minute, and rest everybody can leave. Thank you.